Good afternoon, everyone. Quickly, if you could silence your phones, just so we don't get any interruptions while we're doing this presentation, that'd be appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, students, members of our local community, good afternoon and welcome to our Veterans Day ceremony. As superintendent of schools and proud Army veteran, it is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today, Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a special day in our nation and a day when we come together to honor and pay tribute to the brave men and women who have served in our armed forces. Veterans Day serves as a reminder of the sacrifices made by those who have worn the uniform and the profound debt of gratitude that we owe to them. This day is a testament to the enduring spirit and unwavering dedication of our veterans, many of whom risked their lives and made immeasurable sacrifices to protect the freedoms and values that we hold dear. Their service, their commitment, and their courage have secured the very foundations of our democracy, allowing us to live in a nation where liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness are not just words, but living principles that define who we are as a people. As a veteran myself, I understand the profound significance of this day. I have personally witnessed the sense of duty and honor that courses through the veins of our servicemen and women. I've seen their courage in the face of adversity, their resilience in challenging situations, and their commitment to a cause greater than themselves. Today, we gather not only to express our gratitude, but also to reflect on the profound impact our veterans have had on our community, our nation, and our world. We recognize that their sacrifices have not only protected our way of life, but has also inspired the next generation of leaders, some of which are sitting in our classrooms or in this auditorium, perhaps walking amongst us today. Our veterans have set an example of selflessness, service, and unwavering commitment that we can all learn from. In this ever-changing world where challenges and uncertainties are a constant, we look to our veterans as a source of inspiration and hope. They have shown us that when we unite for a common purpose, when we stand together in the face of adversity, we can overcome even the most formidable challenges. They have shown us the value of honor and of duty and of integrity, and they are not just words, but guiding principles that can shape the destiny of our great nation. So today, let us remember the sacrifices of our veterans, let us honor their service, and let us recommit ourselves to the ideals they have defended. Let us ensure that their legacy lives on in the hearts and minds of each new generation. Let us never forget that the freedom and prosperity we enjoy today has been preserved by the bravery and sacrifice of those who have worn the uniform. Thank you for joining us in a special Veterans Day ceremony. May we continue to pay our respects, express our gratitude, and work together to create a better future inspired by the resolute spirit of our veterans. Thank you.
Those of you who are capable and everyone else, please rise, stand, and move out. That's what happened when you down sleep.
is Veterans Day. In 1918, World War I ended in the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month. The entire world celebrated. An armistice, or truce, was agreed upon between Germany and the Allied forces, led by the United States, declaring the war to end all wars was finally over. The next year, on November 11th, the United States called the day Armistice Day in honor of the men and women who risked and sacrificed their lives during World War I. On Armistice Day, surviving soldiers marched in parades through their hometowns. Politicians and veteran officers gave their speeches and ceremonies in thanks for the peace that had been won. In 1954, Congress passed legislation to replace the word armistice with Veterans Day, and officially honoring all veterans on Veterans Day.
Oftentimes, people confuse the meaning behind Veterans Day with other military holidays, such as Memorial Day and Armed Forces Day. Armed Forces Day, the third Saturday of each May, honors those who serve it. Memorial Day, the last Monday of each May, remembers those who died while serving. Veterans Day, the 11th day of each November, honors those who served.
Branches of the military. United States citizens are protected by 5 branches of the military, each with specific responsibilities. Army. The Army is the largest and oldest branch of our military. Established in 1775, it consists of highly trained soldiers and officers whose primary job is to protect and defend the United States on land locally as well as internationally.
Marines. The Marines, also known as the Marine Corps, make up one of the smaller branches of the United States Armed Forces. However, when there's a sudden emergency, they are the branch to be called upon because their size allows them to respond quickly to situations. The Marines are also known as the infantry of the Navy, meaning they specialize in land and sea operation.
Navy. The Navy is a branch in the United States Armed Forces whose mission is to protect the waters surrounding our country and perform military operations at sea. The Navy constantly patrols the waters for safety and in times of need may be ordered to attack enemy ships. The Navy is also called upon to transport supplies or when there is trouble at sea that doesn't necessarily involve an enemy.
Air Force. The Air Force is the youngest branch in the United States Armed Forces, with the primary mission to protect Americans from enemy attacks in the air and space. Through the use of satellites, the Air Force is able to monitor suspicious enemy activity, both at home and internationally.
Coast Guard. The Coast Guard's primary mission is to protect the United States coastlines and military ports. They specialize in law enforcement at sea, sea rescue, and immigration control. In times of conflict, the Coast Guard is deployed to help the Navy when needed.
At this time, the band will honor our military by performing each branch's service song in Armed Forces salute.
We have representing all the armed forces today. To your right are veterans and their families that we're going to honor at this time by playing the song of their service. Now, Eddie and Mr. Moorcraft and all the veterans can tell you, we tease each other. The Army teases the Navy teases the Marine Corps. But when we have the uniforms on, we're performing the duties, it's for you. It's so you can be here at Carmichaels area. We're going to start off with playing the song for the United States Coast Guard. Here we go.
flag. The American flag unites us as a country and represents what our country is built on: liberty and freedom. Literally, it's just a piece of fabric, but the more you know about it, the more you come to appreciate the symbolism each thread embodies.
A brief history of Old Glory. On January 1st, 1776, the Continental Army was reorganized in accordance with a congressional resolution, which placed American forces under George Washington's control. On that New Year's Day, the Continental Army was laying siege to Boston, which had been taken over by the British Army. Washington ordered the Grand Union flags hoisted above his base. It had 13 alternate red and white stripes and the British Union Jack in the upper left corner. On June 14, 1777, to establish an official flag for the new nation, the Continental Congress passed for the first Flag Act. It resolved that the flag of the United States would be made with 13 stripes, alternated red and white. The Union be 13 stars, white in the blue field, representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and the 1960s, Congress passed several acts that changed the shape, design, and arrangement of the flag, allowed for additional stars and stripes to be added to reflect the mission for each new state.
Our current flag. Today, the American flag consists of 13 horizontal stripes, 7 red, alternating with 6 white. The stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of our flag were chosen with the intent to create symbolism. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor, white symbolizes purity and innocence, blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. There have been 27 official versions of the American flag, each with a different amount of stars.
Francis Scott Key wrote the lyrics to our national anthem after he witnessed the British attack at Fort McHenry. He watched the British rockets glare, the bombs bursting in air, yet still he saw the Star-Spangled Banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave.
After a tragedy like September 11, 2001, or a death like Abraham Lincoln, the flag is flown at half-staff for 30 days as a representation of the whole nation being in a state of mourning. It's called half-staff on land and half-mast on a ship.
According to the U.S. Flag Code website, when an American flag is flown at night, it must be illuminated. It should never be flown in bad weather. It can only be flown upside down to signal distress. It must be raised quickly and lowered slowly, and no other flag can be placed above it. The flag should be flown during school days in or near every school building. It is a myth that a flag must be burned if it touches the ground. The flag must be burned if it is damaged and no longer suitable for flying.
The rule of the hat. During medieval times, kings and other important people were protected by knights wearing armor. Their armor consisted of a face mask. When they would see their noble, the person in charge of them, it was a sign of respect to lift their face shield so the nobles could see who they were. This was to ensure that they were not an impostor or an assassin.
Fast forward in history. Knights no longer exist, but country leaders are now protected by the military. The act of raising your face shield is not necessary, because most of the time they are not wearing something that covers their face. However, the motion of raising to your hand, to your face or forehead continued and became a soldier's salute.
Today, if you witness that national anthem being played in an area where soldiers are in uniform, they will not remove their hats, but they will stand at attention with a salute towards the flag. Removing their hat as it is part of their military uniform is actually seen as an act of disrespect.
Nevertheless, any male citizen not in the military uniform should remove their hat when the flag or government official is in a room with you or passes you by like in a parade or when the national anthem is played.
Let's now focus on the women. Females are typically exempt from the remove your hat rule. In fact, historically, a female removing their hat could be seen as disrespectful. There are many reasons. Here are the two that are easy to understand.
Number 1, when the custom started, females' hats were often attached to their hair with multiple pins, making it difficult to quickly remove without causing distraction to those around them.
Number 2, women covering their hair, wearing a hat or bonnet, is historically a sign of respect. In the days when showing an ankle was promiscuous, a woman's hair was considered one of her most attractive features. If a woman had her hair showing in church or during the national anthem, it would distract the men from paying attention.
So, today if the hat is decorative and attached with pins, like a graduation cap, or the females in the military and wearing her uniform, they are permitted to keep their hats on. However, in today's society, many times girls wear hats like a ball cap. These are not considered decorative and are easily removed. In those cases, it is expected that the female removes her hat in the presence of the flag and during the national anthem.
In short, wearing a hat is disrespectful to our flag, our country, and all the people who have fought it to protect it and to persevere our freedoms. Removing your hat in the presence of a flag or during the national anthem is a custom that is used to honor our nation and its veterans.
While the historical purpose behind these actions today are obsolete, the significance of these actions, of the salute, standing, and hat removal remain relevant and significant.
America's White Table. We call your attention to this small table which occupies a place of dignity and honor. This table is set for one, symbolizing the fact that some are missing from our ranks. They're referred to as POWs, prisoners of wars, and MIAs, and missing in action.
This table is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone.
The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms.
The single red rose in the vase signifies the blood that may have shed to ensure the freedom of the United States of America. This rose also reminds us of the family and friends of missing comrades who keep the faith awaiting their return. The red ribbon on the vase represents the red ribbons worn in the lapels of thousands who demand with unyielding determination a proper account of our comrades who are not among us. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate.
The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait.
The glass is inverted because they cannot toast with us.
The chair is empty because they are not here.
The American flag reminds us that many of them may never return and have paid their supreme sacrifice to ensure our freedom.
The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope that in our lives, hearts to illuminate their way home, away from the captors, to the open arms of a grateful nation. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the table they just described, traditions they just described, are all part of a tribute to those who have worn the uniform, male and female. But it's a tradition with military bands, and we have the honor of also being entwined with the high school band. And we always pay homage to those veterans that have passed, but especially those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, which means they were killed in combat, protecting all of us. At this time, we're going to play a hymn in honor of all deceased veterans, but especially those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. This hymn is entitled, Near My God to Thee.
Story of taps. The origin of taps. The distinctive bugle melody played at U.S. military funerals and memorials, and as lights-out signal to soldiers at night, dating back to the American Civil War. In July 1862, U.S. General Daniel Butterfield and his brigade were camped at Harrison's Landing, Virginia, recuperating after the 7 days battles near Richmond. Dissatisfied with the standard bugle call employed by the Army and to indicate the troops when it was time to go to sleep, and thinking the call should be more melodious, Butterfield reworked the existing bugle call used to signal the end of the day. After he had the brigade bugler, Private Oliver Wilcox Norton, play it for the men, buglers from other units became interested in the 24-note tune, and it quickly spread throughout the Army, and even caught on with the Confederates.
Not long after Butterfield created taps, it was played for the first time at a military funeral for a Union cannoneer killed in action. The man's commanding officer, Captain John Tidball, decided the bugle call would be safer than the traditional firing of 3 rifle volleys over the soldier's grave, a move which could be confused by the nearby enemy as an attack. As for the name taps, the most likely explanation is that it comes from the fact that prior to Butterfield's bugle call, the lights-out call was followed by 3 drum beats, dubbed the drum taps, as well as the taps and then simply taps. When Butterfield's call replaced the drum beats, soldiers referred to it as taps. Taps is now played by the military at burial and memorial services to accompany the lowering or folding of the flag and to signal the lights out at day's end.
The 21-gun salute. If you have ever been to a military funeral, you may have witnessed what many of us refer to as the 21-gun salute. While the 21-gun salute has a great significance in our country's history, what you may have witnessed is actually referred as the 3-rifle volley or the 3-volley salute.
This volley is fired at military funerals and consists of 3 to 7 rifles, firing 3 shots each to honor the dead. The 3-volley salute originated with the custom of ceasing fire during battle to remove the dead and wounded from the field. If the soldier knew the name of the slain soldier, he would call his name 3 times into the night as a form of remembering their sacrifice. Once the bodies were removed, each side would fire 3 shots or volleys to resume fighting.
It was customary that 3 fire cartridges were placed into the folded American flag prior to presentation to the next of kin. These cartridges signify duty, honor, and sacrifice. At this time, members of the American Legion Post 400 will honor our fallen soldiers by executing the 3-volley salute followed by taps.
Honor Guard Commander, pay a tribute to all our departed comrades. Honor Guard, 10, set, forward, arm, half, right, aim, fire, aim, fire, aim, fire, ready, front, breathe in, arm.
of the American flag. Have you ever noticed on TV or at military funerals the honor guard pays meticulous attention to correctly folding the American flag? It is actually folded 13 times with each fold designated to represent something specific. The first fold of our American flag is a symbol of life.
The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life.
The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world.
The fourth fold represents our weaker nature, for as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace as well as in times of war for His divine guidance.
The fifth fold is a tribute to our country. From the words of Stefan Dektor, our country in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but is still our country right or wrong?
The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of our republic.
The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day, and to other mothers, for whom it flies on Mother's Day.
The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of men and women who have made this country great has been molded.
The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for He, too, has given His sons and daughters for the defense of our country since they were first born.
The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal King David and King Solomon and glorifies in Hebrews' eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in the Christian's eyes God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
The 13th fold completes the folded flag, and the stars are utmost reminding us of our nation's motto, "In God we trust."
After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and mariners who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for us the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we enjoy today.
At this time, our brand new middle school choir will perform a choral melody to celebrate our America.
it's my honor to bring in Miss Emma Bates. She was the winner of our American Legion essay contest. She has been reading something that she wrote, and it's very humbling.
Agnes Repplier writes in his musings in a 1916 article of The Atlantic that of all countries in the world, we, and only we, have any need to create artificially the patriotism which is the birthright of other nations. He goes on to explain that like many other nations of the world which have existed for millennia, America has a remarkably short history. Not only this, but America broke away from another country, England, and morphed from a small colonial settlement under another crown into what is considered by many to be the greatest nation on earth. We do not all have the trait from being from the same heritage or nationality by blood, and Repplier fears that this creates barriers between those who live here. But the United States has been a melting pot from the very beginning, and while diversity in the US has created barriers, it is also beautiful. Our American history is unique, and it gives each citizen through the generations a place in its story, no matter the physical origins of our ancestors. Today, we are Americans, and this kind of patriotism is based less on our blood or nationality, but more on our combined story as a people who fought for liberty and will continue to fight for the liberties of all people as long as we live. The founding of our country is a story that many are familiar with. American colonists were not receiving their rights under England, and after a long period of peaceful negotiations, these settlers waged war on the mother country, seeing it as the only way to gain access to liberty that was rightfully theirs. Independence was never the goal in mind, nor total freedom, as many people believe. Liberty alone was the founding virtue of our country, because the forefathers did not have it in England, nor in any of the other countries from which they immigrated. You see, freedom and liberty are two very different words in the context of Americanism. As George Wythe, lawyer and teacher of many founding fathers, explains, freedom in and of itself is not necessarily a good thing. Total freedom in a broken humanity leads only to evil and danger. We need laws in place in order for us to have safety in our daily lives. But we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights that no government can take away. This is where liberty comes into play. These are the rights that allow us to live how we wish, to an extent, and pursue the life we see fit, not one commanded upon us by a crown of tyranny, but by God and ourselves through the democracy that we have established. During the creation of a new government here in America, as free and independent states, many new ideas were shared. A government was needed, of some sort, that was known, and the possibilities were endless. Many of the men involved in founding our nation had no experience in government whatsoever, let alone in setting up a new country. They had won the battle for independence, giving liberty to the colonies, but now there was a choice as to handle the preservation of that liberty. They could look only to the present and take shots in the darkness, or they could look to the past as they prepared for their future. As the poet Maya Angelou states, if you don't know where you've come from, you won't know where you're going. A knowledge of our history, as unbiased as possible, is crucial to being an American citizen and understanding Americanism fully. Americanism is not merely pride for our country, although that is certainly part of it. Americanism is why we are proud, why we claim the American story as our own, rather than that of any other nation on earth. Americanism means that we live here in a place where the basis of our government is built upon the liberty to petition our officials and fight for what we believe in. But sometimes, just like any other country of the world, America doesn't listen to what we have to say. At these times, it is our responsibility to speak up for what we wish to see accomplished. Respectfully, but determinedly, we must voice our views for the betterment of humanity and for the hope of this country. This, to me, is the true meaning of Americanism.
At this time, I'd like to thank everybody for attending, especially all these participants, the students that participated in our service. Especially, I'd like to appreciation for Joanne Walker and her Carmichaels Area High School band, and Mr. Frank Rico for our American Legion 400 band. Thanks everybody, and have a good Veterans Day.
Now the two bands and this wonderful new choir are going to sing God Bless America. Ms. Walker, who's in charge of dismissal? Mr. Becky.
Not me.
Can we give another round of applause to the band? Thank you for your service. Happy Veterans Day, and God bless. Students, you are dismissed to your mics, period. Go ahead.